President Zeleński, thank you so much for joining the Sunday briefing.
Thanks so much. Hi.
Hi there. I want to get your reaction to this peace deal that we're seeing unfold in Gaza. We are watching scenes of celebration that a short while ago seemed impossible, and very soon we're going to see the hostages come home. Does seeing this deal reached between Israel and Hamas give you renewed hope that President Trump can achieve a similar outcome for Ukraine?
I just had a conversation a phone call with President Trump, and we spoke about different topics. And of course, I said to him, and it's very honestly, really, I always speak with him very honestly, and I congratulated him because I think this is a big success of the United States and the big success of of President Trump, his own involvement to this process, and that's why I congratulated him. This is real success, and he told me very openly that he thought that he could manage to stop Putin earlier than he can manage to make ceasefire in Middle East, and really I agreed with him that we have more difficult situation. But in any way, I wanted to congratulate him and all his people, and I think Israel and Palestinian people, and this is so important, and this is important that people will come back home, and so important that ceasefire between us, ceasefire is big, huge step to peace deal. That's why I think this is real success, and of course it gives signals for us and hope that with such pressure, what President Trump used in Middle East to make peace, and I hope that he will use the same instruments, even more, to pressure Putin to stop his war in Ukraine. I hope so, and I spoke about it with President.
Yeah, tell me about that phone call that you had with President Trump. What did he say about either Gaza or the war in Ukraine? What's coming next? Tell me about your conversation.
No, he said really that in Ukraine it's more difficult, and it's a bigger war. It's understandable. It's full-scale war. We don't compare, casualties, because it's painful everywhere in any place in the world, and I don't want to compare. But we have big war, and Russia is a big state, real big state, and they began first, occupations more than 10 years ago. This is really very difficult situation. When we had meetings with President at the very beginning of his term, I said to him that it will be very difficult because Putin really doesn't want, and he doesn't feel full pressure on him. For example, like Americans with partners, what they did in what they did, like with the Iranians and with Iran, when they decided to pressure on their military sector because nuclear infrastructure and etc. So we spoke about this not first time. We spoke with President Trump that we need two things, I think, to make real pressure on Putin. I said to him that we need real air defense, because what we have, we're thankful to partners, but it's not enough. That real air defense, real number of systems, and just to show Putin that America supports us and really save us. That it's too expensive just to use weapons, missiles, Iranian drones against Ukraine, and you don't have result because we have really strong shield. And the second point, to have long distance capabilities, and it depends on our own production and of course on American side, because United States has Tomahawks and other things which really you can use on military sector. For example, really between us, and it's not a secret, I'm telling, if Russia, and they do now, they have now, and they produce Iranian drones. They produce thousands of them, and they use for one day, during one day, they use 500 plus Iranian drones. So Iranians gave them licenses. And Iranian people, they came to Russia, they taught them, and now Russians produce it. And that's the same North Korean they did with artillery. So it's difficult for Ukraine. Yes, we are not, we are a strong country, but not so big. To be against Russia and Iranians and North Koreans is too much. That's why we spoke about tomahawks and other things.
Did he approve the tomahawks?
We work on it, and I'm waiting from President. Yes, we of course we count on such decisions, but we will see. We will see.
Okay. Part of President Trump's achievement brokering this peace deal with Gaza, in Gaza rather, between Israel and Hamas, involved pressuring both sides and a threat of real destruction to Hamas if they did not agree. Hamas knew that threat was real, but Russia is a nuclear power. So what can President Trump do in the case of Ukraine to make a difference like it did with Hamas? What are those fine points that will turn the tide of this war?
I think that for today, it doesn't matter if you are a big country with nuclear weapons, so it might be crazy to open World War III nuclear war. So we even don't, we don't imagine that Russia can use nuclear weapon. Otherwise, we need the new planet. So, this is crazy decisions. But there are things which are very painful for aggressor, in this case for Russia, and for everybody. When countries, strong countries like United States, European countries, Canada, Japan, when they use such instruments as sanctions or tariffs, such instruments on energy, first of all, then on fleet, yes, and on banking system, and on other needs, critical minerals and etc. It really has influence on domestic questions. So I think number one is sanctions and tariffs, and if the United States will put all the sanctions on Russia, first of all energy sector and of course banking sector, not to give them possibility to circumvent sanctions, they always do it, to speak with other countries from global south who really help Russia really each day between us. Even those countries who are very positive to America and personally to Trump, President Trump, and who are very positive, by the way, to Ukraine. But they, balancing between Ukraine and Russia because of economic benefits. So we need strong sanctions on Russia. This is number one. I think so. Because in this case, Russia will not use, such so big volume of profits of energy. And for example, Russia uses now $350 billion just for their military, for this war, for their military sector. That's why they produce so many drones, so many expensive missiles and artillery rounds and etc. And they a lot of money put to the contracts between, as I said, North Korea. By the way, they help North Koreans strengthen their army because they give them money. And this is this sector. So sanctions is very important. The second point, when we have private sector from different countries, even in Europe, even our close partners. And private sectors they buy energy. It's not right. And with these points, I agree with President Trump. I'm on his side that Europe has to stop to buy any format, any kind of energy from Russia.
Yeah, how close are we to that happening? Because the president said he would do these secondary sanctions, but first, NATO countries and the EU have got to get off Russian oil. How soon could we see that happen?
I heard it. So we speak with Europe. We are thankful to Europe because of the 19th package. They are now preparing the 19th package, and I hope it will be ready this month. And I kindly asking President Trump not to connect. I understand his point of view, and I understand how he steps, that he wants Europe first to demonstrate and stop any energy contract with Russia. I understand, but it's difficult for us. You know, we don't have too much time. And that's why, of course, for me, it's better if United States will make in parallel way decisions. Secondary sanctions, very painful for Russia. Everybody understands it. It depends on President Trump will. And I agree with President. I'm asking him to put this, to support this package of secondary sanctions, and of course, not to connect it with European decisions. But I agree that Europe has to stop to buy. And by the way, Europe made big progress. I spoke with a lot of leaders, and really, Europe decreased 80% of their contracts on energy during all this period of war. We made it together, and we had a lot of meetings and dialogues with Europeans, and they did it. But it's not enough. I agree with Americans, and it's not enough. The question with Slovak and Hungarians, and I think that we can do it from our side. We spoke with Slovak, and with Hungarians it's more difficult. We don't speak with them, but President Trump can speak with Hungarians and pressure on him. But with Slovak we can find alternatives, clear alternative, not Russian.
I want to ask you about the Tomahawks and long-range missiles, but I have a few other questions on another topic first. On Friday, the First Lady, Melania Trump, announced that she's had an open line of communication with Vladimir Putin to facilitate the return of Ukrainian children who are now in Russia. 8 of them have been returned so far. Tell me about this effort. How many children, Ukrainian children, does Russia have? And how soon could we see more coming home?
Yeah, so, you know, this is always very difficult question. Really, what a huge number been stolen, and what a big number, it's a tragedy, but I have to say, what a big number of children been killed on the temporary occupied territories. Because during the war, a lot of victims, a lot of casualties, a lot of. For today, what we know, because we can't control everything, but the minimum what we know that 19,000, about 19, maybe more, but 19,000 we understand been stolen by Russia. 19,000 of children. Then 1,600 we already brought to Ukraine. Yeah, we have the program Bring Kids Back. We have 40 countries who are in this coalition of helping to bring back children, and I'm thankful to all the countries, and I'm thankful to the United States, and we are very thankful to other participants, and Qatar. They made a lot of pressure on Russia and brought kids back. So I'm thankful for First Lady. Yes, I think.
How much of a difference did Melania Trump's involvement make here? Did that really move the needle?
They had, so first of all, First Lady of the United States, it was the first big step, and I think that this during General Assembly in New York, they made a meeting between First Lady of the United States and First Lady of Ukraine, my wife, and we spoke just about it also with President Trump, and it was very, very good conversation, and very important conversation. They spoke, you know, about our children, what we have to do, how to involve the United States more to this process. You know, it will not be never enough presidents, first ladies, countries to manage this, you know, this sensitive topic, because to bring thousands children back, there is no any person who can do it alone. So, because it's a huge task. But in any way, I'm thankful to President Trump, and I'm thankful to First Lady that they have contact with the First Lady of Ukraine, and for this step. So we are very thankful if First Lady of the United States, she will continue this work. And I understand that there are a lot of challenges in the United States, but God bless. I think this topic is also will be in focus of First Lady and of the United States.
It's nice to hear some good news every once in a while. I also want to ask about the Nobel Peace Prize. You have personally witnessed President Trump's commitment to brokering peace across the world. You've seen the kind of pressure that he applies to get it done. Sometimes you've been on the receiving end of that pressure. This year's Nobel Peace Prize went to Venezuela's opposition leader. What was your reaction to that? Do you think that President Trump should be nominated next year? Would you do it?
I think that we will be very happy to nominate President Trump next year for Nobel Prize if he will, because only him for today, only him can. So if he will pressure and stop Putin, if he will put Putin at the table of dialogue, negotiations, if President Trump will stop these killings, and I think that ceasefire, sometimes we understand that ceasefire is not, it's not really finishing the war, but between us, we understand that ceasefire, this is the biggest step to the final, to finish the war, really. So I think that if President Trump will do it during this year, and of course we want as early as possible, because we want to stop this war and always supported President Trump. So that's why, but if he will do it, I hope so, and God bless that he can do it. Of course, in this case, we will nominate him and we will be proud to congratulate him.
Wonderful. I also want to ask you about these long-range missiles. Last month, President Trump said that Russia's military is a paper tiger. He said that Ukraine is positioned to win back all of its territory, and he's been considering giving these Tomahawks to Ukraine, giving Ukraine access to the Tomahawks. He said, though, first he would want to know what Ukraine would hit with those missiles. Have you told the president what kinds of targets Ukraine would want to hit, and has he made any indication that an answer will come soon?
Yes, it goes, two-way. So Russians, they sell energy, they have money, they put money to military, for us, military goals. And that's why I think that the most important to decrease possibility Russia continue such long war. And that's only one way how to do. Or pressure Putin diplomatically, and if President Trump as quick as possible will do it, it's better for all of us. Or to pressure on him on the battlefield, but first of all, decreasing capabilities, it's been possibilities for Russia continue the war. So it's only military goals, only military. We never, even with all, with all this pain of losses of our families and our soldiers and our civilians and children, even with all this pain, but our people, we never attacked their civilians. This is the big difference between Ukraine and Russia. That's why if we speak about long range, we speak only about military goals. That's it.
On the long-range strikes, the president recently signed off on plans to share intelligence to facilitate Ukraine's ability to conduct those long-range strikes into Russia. But according to some reports, U.S. officials were waiting on written instructions from the White House to begin sharing that intelligence. Has that happened yet?
I can't share, sorry, JK, I can't share everything about intelligence with you, with pleasure, but I can't. So, what?
Put another way, are you comfortable where things are right
now? We are comfortable how our two intelligences, our two institutions work. They have very strong relations for today.
Okay. And Russia and Ukraine have been exchanging strikes on energy infrastructure. What is the situation like on the battlefield, and what are your concerns heading into this winter?
This is what I shared when I was in Washington with President. I said to him, when Russia tries to sell you, Mr. President, that they can, and they are such strong, that they can occupy East you will see closer to winter when they will not do it because they are not so strong as they speak. It's just, you know, war marketing, and that's it, of Putin. That's why I said you will see that they will attack our infrastructure, civilian infrastructure. First of all, of course, energy, electricity and gas. And also railway, they attacked railway civilians, not with military. I mean, this just railway, they attacked a lot already. So it means that they don't know what to do, how to sell according to their propaganda in their country, how to sell, you know, some successes. So on the battlefield, they're not, there is no success, and there is no even any kind of victory. So they don't have any successful goals. What they said to President Trump, and by the way, to some European leaders, they tried to sell this information, but they are losing. They don't have their goals. But that's why they're trying to push this, you know, really energy terror. What they want to do. Of course, we defend with those capabilities what we have. Not enough. As I said to you and to President today, that we don't have enough. Really, we have the question with this problem, real problem. And of course, we renovate. And this is I'm proud of our people. You know, even under attacks, people, just specific groups of energetics and etc. How they renovate, they quickly. For example, just JK, the last example, they attacked at night our region, Odessa. I don't know if you know. I think you know Odessa region. Yeah. So and Odessa, and they destroyed all the electricity. Of course, electricity will be renovated during this day, only because of these people or these groups, and a lot of these people, and they are very professional. They will renovate everything.
I want to ask you about Ukraine's innovation, because you've made some pretty impressive advances with your anti-drone air defense technology. How effective is this new technology if you had to give it a percentage rate?
So this is drone, cheapest, by the way, cheapest way how to destroy Iranian drones, Shaheeds. Everybody, by the way, in Europe recognize it, and the United States also. So we have some companies who just began massively to produce it, but really now the percent of destroying is 68. So I mean, you understand, 68% of successful destroying, but they will increase. The question now in money, and this is real problem because you have to finance. This is the cheapest way from one side, that one such little drone interceptor, the price is about 3.5 to 5, from $3,000 to $5,000. So it's cheapest way. And when you use, for example, 2, 3 against one Iranian Shaheeds, which price is more than 100,000, 120, 150. So you understand that 10 against 150. This is, I mean, this is good instrument. But the problem that you need thousands of them. According to, for example, 500-600 of Shaheeds each day. It means that you need 1,000 of such interceptors, and we don't have for today enough money to put for private productions, private companies to increase their production. So this is one problem, but I think that we will manage it.
It sounds like a worthwhile thing to continue innovating with, especially on the cost effectiveness side. It sounds like you've been creative with the resources that you have. I also finally, we can end here, but I want to ask about these recent Russian drone and jet incursions into NATO airspace. It's been ramping up. It's been a topic of big concern in the neighboring countries to Ukraine. Where do you think Putin is going with this war?
To my mind, maybe I'm not right, but yes, what I think, some reasons, and after these attacks, I think this is successful steps of Putin, how to pressure on Europe. So the first point, he wanted to see real reaction of Europe, and I think that it was not enough loud enough, and he didn't see real reaction. The second point, not political, very practical, that he saw what air defense capabilities, how Europe is ready for one or another attack. Yes?
You see these as a test, then?
I think, yes, it was a test. And he saw, so he looked at Nordic countries. He looked at the reaction of Poland, first of all, because Poland is a big country, and he's the big neighbor of Ukraine, and it's a NATO country, 40 million country, by the way, 40 million population, so it's a big country. And he put there, we have analytics that 23 drones, but maybe 19, and the military sector of Poland, they could destroy 4. And it was not about missiles, and God bless, not ballistic, not cruise missiles, just drones. And not all of them been Iranian Shaheeds. Some of them been more simple. And they destroyed 20%. So, and I think that was the test of Putin. And then what he did, I said it like the first reason, just to make a pressure on some European countries who are ready to provide Ukraine support like air defense during winter. And that's why you understand for what, yes, to decrease the number of air defense delivering to Ukraine.
To deter the help.
Yes. And the last point, what I think, just to remind to everybody, and I said it to Europeans, look at this situation. He made the same with Crimea, when he did some things, but not with drones, because 10 years ago it was not about the drones, other weapon he used. So he made tests with Crimea and looked at reaction of the United States, and it was weak reaction, I think so, not enough. And also to European, and European reaction was weak, and Global South was weak at his first steps to Crimea. That's why I said, I think this is the most dangerous reason, if I'm right, that he's testing and preparing his society. With Crimea, he began to prepare his Russian society that Crimea can be under occupation. And that's why I think this is very dangerous for Poland. And we heard for Poland and Baltic and other countries, because we heard not only drones, we heard their messages in media that we think about Baltic and we think about Poland, we have to think about it. So they are preparing messages for Russian society. This is dangerous.
History is the most important teacher. We'll have to leave it there. President Volodymyr Zelensky, thank you so much for joining the Sunday briefing. We hope to have you back again soon, sir.
Thank you so much, Jackie. All the best. God bless you.
God bless you, too. Thank you so much, President Zelensky. I really appreciate all the time you gave to us, and please keep in close touch. You know, I've been following this war very closely since the beginning, and it was great to talk to you, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.